everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie and you're watching Reliable Roots, and today's video is all about this past year with our homeschooling. I wanted to bring you an update about what happened this past year, what worked, what didn't work, what did not work. Sorry, I have tried to film this several times and then the battery died and the SD card ran out of space, so I'm going to try to get it one more time in one take without having to edit it, because I have a lot to tell you about. I know there's a lot of parents out there that are considering homeschooling or distance learning for this coming up year, and so I wanted to offer some encouragement, advice, wisdom, something something along those lines, and that's kind of what this video is all about. I'm going to recap some of the things that worked this past year and some of the things that did not work, and just kind of update what happened this past year, because a lot happened. This is always a fun video for me to like look back and say, okay, what did we do? What did we learn? Where did we go? Because so much happens in the course of a year, and especially this year has been just crazy. So I want to start off with welcome. If you are new to my channel, I have 3 small children. The oldest just got done with 2nd grade, the middle child just got done with kindergarten, and the youngest is 3. So a big change that happened this past year was that I officially started homeschooling 2 children. My middle child started kindergarten, which wasn't too much of a difference because I had been homeschooling her with preschool for the past several years, so that wasn't like a huge shift in anything. But the other big thing is that I decided to go back to school to get my master's. I did, however, stop getting my master's when the pandemic happened. It went from being a top priority of mine to being at the very bottom of my list of priorities, and other things that I had put at the back of my priorities suddenly came forward. Things like gardening and taking care of my home really. Taking care of my home and spending time with my children, and just some of those things that you know, life things that happen like this, they kind of just hit you in the face, and they make things, they sometimes put things into priority. Not saying that it's not a priority. Eventually one day I would still like to go get my master's, but it's not going to be this year. Probably won't be next year either. So this past year, with doing online schooling, that took up a significant part of my day. Plus I was still working from home and homeschooling the girls. So I committed to about 2 to 3 hours a day homeschooling 5 days a week. And we took a few breaks in there, and towards the end of the school year when the pandemic happened and I started sewing masks like crazy for a lot of people. My church was doing this big project trying to get masks out to organizations and stuff like that. So the long and the short of this is that no, I did not achieve a lot of my homeschooling goals for this past year. And the happy part about that is that I am okay with that. If you did not check out my video from last year, I totally felt like I butchered last year because I switched curriculums in like April or May. And so we did summer school all last year just because I switched curriculums, and I was so adamant that I wanted to, you know, go by a curriculum. And even while I was filming that, and even while I was doing that, I'm like, I don't know if this is a right fit for us. So it's taken me years to learn how to kind of settle, and I'm still in the process of it, I will say that, how to settle into a routine and how to be okay with not achieving everything on that list. And this coming up year, my list grows every year, and so I've added even more to it. But I'm learning to let go as we go along, that I'm not going to be able to get to everything on the list, and I'm okay with that, and I'm pretty sure my kids are okay with that too. But we stuck with the Meadow 2nd grade curriculum and the kindergarten curriculum, and those were very nice. I really like them. They have checklists for a busy working mom. They're fantastic. They are Waldorf inspired, but they are not so Waldorf inspired because sometimes for someone who has not been in the Waldorf school system, I'm not a Waldorf trained teacher, that was a little bit difficult for me when I first switched over towards the Waldorf philosophy, because there's a lot of reading. You have to read all the stories in advance and then retell them to the kids in a story format instead of just reading it. They're long stories. I mean, they are very long stories. So all of that to say that Oak Meadow worked out really well for us, and I already bought the 3rd grade curriculum. It's the first time I've ever bought new curriculum. Usually I always buy it secondhand off of eBay or Facebook Marketplace, but Oak Meadow has a sale, I guess, every year in May that they give 20% off, which was actually better than what I could find secondhand at the time. So I was like, yeah. So we already have the 3rd grade curriculum, and it's the brand new one. They just like changed the cover on it, and I'm really, really excited about that. So all that to say, we ended our school about a month ago because we were just all beat. It was just one of those years that we were all giving ourselves, I was giving us all a lot of leniency. I know, standardized testing was canceled, I think, around the nation. And then in Virginia, they even said that you don't have to do any standardized testing for homeschoolers or any evaluations. So we took advantage of that as like, okay, we're going to give ourselves a nice summer. We're going to relax and enjoy it. I have to look at my notes to make sure that I'm getting everything. So we went to Williamsburg, was our big homeschooling trip. We went with a bunch of other homeschoolers, had a great time there. We also were able to go to Florida. I have family in Florida, and we had a nice little relaxing vacation. We got to do that right before the pandemic happened. Actually, on our way back, they were canceling schools, and so it was just the perfect time. We also, for my daughter's 8th birthday, she wanted to go visit the aquarium, so that was perfect. It was wonderful. We went on like a Thursday. We had the place to ourselves, and we had a great time with that as well. The other thing that we did outside of the home was get a year membership to the Children's Museum. A lot of, homeschooling families are all different. A lot of homeschooling families do a lot of field trips, and that is awesome, and I hope to do a lot more field trips in the future. But we have, the way that our land, house, homestead is, we do have a lot that needs to get done on a regular basis around the house and the yard. So we don't do too many field trips or anything like that. I do hope that this coming up year we're going to do some more fishing trips, because I have taken my girls fishing a few times and they really, really enjoy it, even though we've only caught fish about that big. That will be another video on the plans for 2020 to 2021 homeschool, and I will put that together for you. And I'm really excited about that because I would like to compare it next year when I'm doing this same video to see how much of that actually took place. After the pandemic happened, we got a whole bunch more poultry. We got actually a surprise box from Cackle Hatchery, which was so much fun. I highly recommend it. For $59 was the price this year. You get a surprise box of poultry, and you really don't know what's in that box. And for us, it was like 28 chicks, including 2 ducks and a turkey, and a couple bantams, which I've never had a bantam. I really thought that they were like some other kind of flying bird. I had no idea what bantams were. We got that back in April, and that has been so much fun. So right now we are overloaded with poultry, but I plan on selling off some of them soon because we have way more eggs than we will ever be able to eat. We also got rabbits around that same time. Now, last year we had rabbits. We got them for the purpose of raising meat rabbits. It did not work out. I can tell you right now. I have learned after a few times of butchering animals, I don't enjoy it. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite thing to do. So when it comes to the rabbits, we did get more rabbits for the purpose of using their fertilizer, and if another pandemic happened where there might be a food shortage, or who knows, then we will have rabbits available. And plus they're cute and furry, and they're awfully sweet. And I'm still trying to figure out how I can use their fur in our homeschool to do like felted crafts and stuff. For my middle child, she finished kindergarten, and she mostly worked on uppercase letters, lots of stories. We did a lot of crafts, hands-on, and then she did some numbers. A lot of kindergartners already know their uppercase and their lowercase and quite a few sight words. And with my youngest, she knew that when she was 4. I started, doing numbers and letters and everything like that, and then I had to kind of back that up when we started using the Waldorf philosophy, because it goes more in a 7-year cycle that really goes along with childhood development. And it's been wonderful this past year to see that in action, because I kid you not, at the beginning of 2nd grade, my oldest child, who just finished 2nd grade, she could not read, like, at all. And you know, I was okay with that because I had read all these developmental books about how, you know, they really need to develop at their own pace. By the end of second grade, and now she is reading like crazy. She's reading textbooks, and she's even, and this drives me nuts, she's even correcting me whenever I read a book out loud. Like every single night I do story time, I read a book out loud, and if I miss a word, she will correct me. So it's finally, I'm to that point that I can hopefully encourage other mothers or fathers out there, homeschooling parents, that you know, that it really does work, that it's all about childhood development. And you know, I'm no expert, I don't have any degrees in education or anything like that, but in just my own homeschooling experience now, that I can actually say that my child, you know, she was academically delayed on purpose, according to the Waldorf philosophy, until about the age of 7, and then her reading just took off. Like, and I seriously, that's the biggest thing. I look back this past year and I'm like, how did that happen? I don't even know how that happened, because I think about like all the grammar rules that you're supposed to know about reading and phonics and stuff like that, and I didn't teach her that, and she just learned it. So pretty cool. That was pretty cool to watch. But my kindergartner, she did a lot of uppercase, and she did a lot of numbers, and she will continue that into first grade. She will be doing uppercase and lowercase, and then she will be doing word families, and that's about it for first grade too, is that she really won't start reading until second grade. And yeah, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Okay, so we dabbled a little bit on piano, and we dabbled a little bit on recorder, and we dabbled a little bit in Spanish, and we dabbled a little bit with verse memorization. We did a whole lot of reading, and in fact, like I said, my second grader, at some point she just took off with reading, and now she's already read through one of her books that she needed to read for next year, and she's reading, like, you know, big thick books. We also did cooking for my oldest one. We worked on chores and allowance, and we started the envelope system around Christmas time so that they could divide their money into give, save, and spend. That has been a lot of fun. Another thing that we did was celebrate a whole bunch of different holidays, including Chinese New Year. We did a huge thing for Chinese New Year, and I tried some authentic recipes. They were they weren't good. No, they weren't good at all. My bamboo steamer was like too small for the fish, was too big, and the pot stickers, well, there's a reason why they call them pot stickers, because they just stick. But we had a great time celebrating anyway. And let's see, the other things that my middle daughter, my kindergartner, got baptized, which we were so excited about that. We celebrated like crazy. That was a big monumental step for her, and I'm just so proud of her. And yeah, so other than that, it was just kind of business as usual, except, you know, the whole world shut down and all that. But the girls have had a great year, and I'm super excited for next year. If you did anything really unique this year besides, you know, the whole pandemic thing, I would love to hear about it. If you have any ideas for things that we could do next year, I'm giving myself, I think, about 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks until I start up homeschooling for next year, and hopefully in that time I will have a schedule. Oh, and that was the other thing, which again I will say in my next video, but we are going to be continuing to do the year-round schooling, which will be like 6 weeks off, or 6 weeks on, 1 week off, 6 weeks on, 1 week off. And we did that a lot this past year, and that was so necessary. It was so necessary for mom. I don't know about the girls, but it was definitely necessary for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment below if you want to see more homeschooling videos. Let me know how your year went, and I hope you all are, I can't talk anymore today. I hope you all are having a wonderful summer, and I'll see you next time. Bye!